Hello everyone, I am Bets Golden. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am going to make a card with some alcohol ink and rainier foil paper. Basically, if you don't know what rainier foil paper is, it is a piece of cardstock that has been infused with foil on both sides, and it comes in different colors. I'm going to be using the metallics today, silver, and it always has on the other side gold, so regardless of what paper it is, that is how it comes. So it comes with a glossy texture, and then also it comes with a star-struck texture. And this is in mocha. I'm going to be using this today, and then I'm also going to be using a copper and a gold. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to want to lay out some of the alcohol ink on the silver. And I just like to take and just kind of dab it everywhere. Just get it going. I'm going for a rustic look on this card, so that's why I've chosen some of these colors, but really any alcohol ink colors would work for you. And then I'm going to throw in just a little bit of, oop, I got that one kind of off the page. Whoopsie, that's okay. And then also, I'm just going to go kind of back through in some spots. And then I just take my little dabber and I use some alcohol blending on it. This one's empty. I have another one right here. And then you can just throw that down too. So this is going to get pretty saturated, which is okay. And then I just dab it on out. There's a couple different ways that you can lay alcohol ink out, but this is my preference for this particular type card. You also can use the blower and blow it out for a different type of effect. That's really fun too. Since this is a slick surface, really alcohol ink should only be used on a slick surface. It will move a little bit, but once it dries, it's totally permanent. And again, what's getting it to move right now is definitely the blending solution. So there's a little bit of wiggle room with this. And if you don't like a particular, if it's like too dark or whatever for you, you can go ahead and blend it out even more and put on some lighter colors as well. And then I'm going to actually also take some gold Mixident and mix it in as well with this. So with your Mixident, you're going to want to just shake it up. And this is Ranger, by the way. So I'm going to just shake that up, and then I'm going to put that on top of my dabber, right like this. Get a nice squirt to it. And then I'm just going to dab it on through, and then we'll let it set aside to dry. And I do have some cardboard down because I prefer not to use it on my glass mat just because, you know, it could, I think it could stain. I haven't tested that out, nor am I going to try to test that out. Okay, and then I have it about to my liking. And then I'm going to take and get my blower ready. This is already at scrapbook.com. It will be in the Ranger store as well after, I think it's March 31st. So if you're interested in that now, if it's not March 31st and you're watching, you can go ahead and check it out at scrapbook.com. If it's after, you can just order it with your alcohol ink from Ranger. And I just kind of wanted to blow it around just to see what it would do. and then I'm not loving it, so I'm going to go through and just kind of smoosh it out with my alcohol blending again. And then there we go. All right, so I'm going to set this aside to dry, and we're going to move on to the second stage of the card. And for this, I can just use my regular mat on this. And I have a piece of gold paper that I've cut down to 1 inch. So I'm going to use this as my sentiment. And I have some StazOn pigment ink. I like the StazOn with this because it dries permanent. And then I'm just going to take this and ink it up really well. Press firm. Try not to wiggle it because it is a slick surface. And then boom, there we are. Now I have a beautiful sentiment. I'm not done with this ink. I'm going to be using it for the next 2 steps as well. So I'm going to set that aside to dry. And then for a backing on that sentiment, I took this embossing folder that I had in my stash. I cut down some of these because I'm making several of these cards. This is the copper. And what's cool about Rainier foil paper is you can literally layer up as much as you want in the embossing folder, and you will never know that it was layered, and you can just peel it back like so. Take what you want and just continue peeling it back and peeling it back, but we're just going to use that right now. I want to make this pop a little bit, so I'm going to take that StazOn again, and I'm just going to slide it over the top like so. All right, and then there we go with that. Now we're going to start to put our card together. So I'm going to take a card base that I created out of 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, cut down the middle, and then scored it, which will give me the perfect A2 size. I'm using some Starburst Mocha Rainier foil paper that has some pretty stars for texture. And I'm just using my adhesive, liquid adhesive for this. You want to be a little bit careful because sometimes the foil can be moved with the glue. So I like art glitter glue because it tends to keep the integrity of the foil in place, which is important to me. But you can always use a tape runner. Okay, and then from here, I'm going to take this bob wire circle stamp, use my StazOn in claret, I think that's how you say it, which is red, and I'm just going to ink it up. Oh, and by the way, you guys, if you keep a steel needle in your tip, put a pop dot on the side and just keep it off to the side like that, and you'll never lose your needle. My friend Tammy taught me that at a recent crop. Since these are cling foam stamps, I don't need to have a foam anything under it. And I'm just going to create some random circles all around the edge just to give it a little bit more interest. And I cut my Mocha Starburst down to, or Starstruck I should say, that's not the name of it. I cut it down to 4 by 5.25, which will create a nice mat around the edge. And then I took that same cardstock, the foil paper that we ended up using alcohol ink on, and I cut this down to 3.75 by 5, and I'm just going to go ahead and mount that right there, and we'll start to put our card together. I have one more step that I'm going to do, one more stamp that I'm going to utilize as well, so I will do that at the end though, because I want to make sure I get it lined up correctly. And since I am working on foil paper, I do not have to worry about it not stamping properly because this is super thin. All right, so I'm going to take my piece of copper that I embossed and then went over, and I'm going to lay that out on the bottom. Again, I'm just going to use my glue, and I always use an extension on my tip as well because it doesn't take much glue, and it really just helps me get a lot of life out of my product and not waste. That's super important because it can get kind of expensive, as you know. And then I'm going to take my Happy Trail sentiment and I'm going to go ahead and place this on the top. Like so. And then I have one more stamp that I want to do, and it is a cute little cowboy with some cactus riding off into the sunset. And again, I'm going to use the StazOn ink on this. Now, it is going to have more of a distressed look, and it may lift some of the alcohol off, and that's why I'm opting for this silhouette type stamp that doesn't have a lot of detail. So I'm just going to ink this up really well. And I don't want to move it around because the surface, again, is still super slick. And then, as you can tell, I did put some adhesive on the back because my stamp kept falling off. So, and then I'm just going to apply some firm pressure all over and then lift it on up. And like I said, there was a chance that it was going to lift, right? Remember how I said that? So I'm actually going to try to stamp it one more time. Let's see if we can get it to move and work right. Voila! There we go. A cute little cowboy card, and it may have lifted more because the paper still could be wet, but here's another one that I did as a sample. So if worse comes to worse, and if I wanted it to be more like this, I could always go ahead and stamp this image on a piece of cardstock or vellum and then pop it on over that, but I kind of think that that looks super cool. All right, you guys, if you're interested in any of these, anything I've done, and you have any questions, please feel free to leave that down below. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I really hope that you consider doing so. Interested in any of the products, I have the description box listed with my affiliated links to the stores. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you share it. Until next time, I'm Bets Golden. Happy crafting.